I want to discuss a little bit UFC Fight Night, Gilbert Burns versus Michael Morales. Now, overall, my opinion about the card is pretty positive. You know, I don't have too many negative things to say. Um, on the undercard, there were two fights in specific that I was very excited about. The undefeated prospect, Park Hyun-Sung, he was 9-0 coming into the fight. And then Yadier Del Valle at 8-0. Also, Jared Flash Gordon. And let's talk about Jared Gordon just for a minute. I mean, my God, how different his career may have looked if he would have gotten awarded the last three losses as victories. Because I do feel like he did deserve the victories. I mean, we had the Paddy Pimblett fight that was extremely controversial. Everybody was talking about it. And then we had the Bobby Green fight, right? I think that was a fight that he was winning, and it was unfortunate, the headbutt. And then the last fight, his last loss, the decision that didn't go his way. So it's almost like Paddy Pimblett maybe is in the spot that Flash Gordon should be in. I don't know. But it was crazy. So this was the only fight. Jared Gordon was the only fighter that I actually in real time saw the live odds shift in such a drastic way. I mean, he started out as, I believe, a plus 105, plus 102 underdog. And then right before the fight moved all the way to a minus 135 favorite. So if you see me looking over, I'm just looking at my notes. I like to come prepared, boys. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, good win for Jared Gordon. We'll see what's next for him. And speaking of Paddy Pimblett, it wouldn't surprise me in the least if after this Charles Oliveira fight, it depends on which way it goes, right? If he beats Charles, we're probably going to see the Arman fight. But if he loses to Charles, which I believe he will, I think the Paddy Pimblett fight makes all the sense in the world. And I'm sure you guys agree with that. On to the main card, there are not too many things I want to talk about. Nursultan Ruziboev versus Dustin Stoltzfus. Dustin had a little bit of a rough start to the UFC, but if you remember, he messed Joe Pyfer's arm up in Tough or Contender Series, whatever. But after that, after coming into the UFC, he's had a bit of a rough start, but he's always been a very tough guy at middleweight. And Nursultan, well, I mean, this guy has been a for real contender since he burst onto the scene. It was a little bit of a setback with the Joaquin Buckley loss, but I figured that the height discrepancy would be a little too much for Dustin to overcome. But ultimately, he made it very, very competitive. Nursultan did great on the feet, the great high kicks and creative striking. He was landing uppercuts, lunging hooks, jabs. I mean, the whole nine. But he's a bit susceptible to the wrestling, isn't he? And I think he'll have a little bit of trouble with that as he continues to move up. But great win from him. Let's talk about the Sodiq Yusuff fight next, right? So this was Sodiq's first fight moving up to lightweight. And I discussed this with Emanuele Adzo over at Learn to Fight. Usually when guys move up, all of a sudden they get this secret advantage, right? And it's a fresh start essentially for them. You're in a new division, and if you win, the slate is wiped clean, right? I.e. Joaquin Buckley. But I heard that Sodiq was having injury problems, something about a back issue that he was putting off surgery for. So I didn't like that. I didn't like that he was coming off of a few losses, and I don't like the fact that in a lot of his fights, he does get hurt. Now, he recovers very well, and that's a great attribute. Not everybody has that, so it's no knock, but these are just the things that I noted. Now, Sodiq is a volume puncher, and so is Myron Santos. Now, during the fight, oh my God, we had to hear Michael Bisping talk about how Myron Santos was the second coming of Anderson Silva. And you know what? His striking is good. But I think it might be a little too early to say some of that. I mean, I don't know. He's got good striking, but I don't know if it's quite Anderson Silva-esque, but fair play to the guy. He did get the win. Yeah, he was kind of able to, once he got comfortable, to do whatever he wanted to in the striking exchanges. He landed the one, I believe it was a kick that busted Sadiq open. And yeah, it's tough for Sadiq, right? Moving up to lightweight and being handed a loss like that. So we'll see what happens next. Maybe he has surgery and maybe he turns into Iron Man, you know, and he takes off. But we'll hold our breath on that one. But best of luck to Sadiq. Congrats to Myron Santos. One of the biggest disappointments of the card was that we didn't get to see Paul Craig. Now, I like Paul Craig at light heavyweight. Rodolfo Bellato was a minus 550 favorite. And I marked this particular fight as upset alert. I thought it had upset written all over it. For you guys that like to bet, I thought this one was one where you could potentially make some money on. Just because, you know, Bellato, he has decent striking. He's very tough, good calf kicks, but he can be taken down, right? We've seen that in his other fights. The thing is, he's never been submitted. But if there's one guy that can submit you, it is Paul Craig. So it's a little disappointing we didn't get to see that fight happen. And I am going to clip in a picture somewhere around here of the story that Rodolfo Bellato posted of why he pulled out of the fight. It's interesting. Moving up to the main card, Gilbert Burns versus Michael Morales. Now, we have been talking about Michael Morales all week. Who is we? Me, greatness personified MMA. Emanuele Adzo at Learn How to Fight. And the rest of the MMA world have been talking about this guy. And I wanted to make sure to stamp my takes on him before the fight because I believed that this guy was going to be someone that would open everyone's eyes after this performance, and he did. And I think a lot of people believe that. I don't think that's a very special take, but for the more casual fans or people who only watch some of the bigger cards, you now know who Michael Morales is. And the first thing I thought whenever the fight started, bell rings for round one, they march towards each other, and I'm like, oh my God, Michael Morales is an absolute monster for 170, at least compared to Gilbert Burns. Obviously, these guys like Shavkat, these guys like Ian Gary, you know, they're much bigger, but still huge. I mean, tree trunk legs, really good leg kicks. I did watch the Weasel's breakdown of this fight, and this is worth noting. Whenever he throws his power punches, his big hooks, he really leaves himself open, and that's my one big complaint about his game so far. He is able to be taken down, but he gets up rather quickly. He did against Gilbert Burns. He did against Neil Magny, right? So I think this guy's an automatic contender. I'd like to see him versus one of the guys in the top. I don't know if Ian Gary will be willing to take that fight. Ian believes that he's next for the title, but who doesn't believe they're next for the title? You know what I mean? So let's watch out for Michael Morales. I believe that he will absolutely challenge for a title, if not be a champion one day. Emanuele Adzo over at Learn How to Fight is predicting him to be the next John Jones. So we have some storylines here to kind of watch out for. Yeah, so overall, very good card. I'm about to wrap this video up. If you like this video, shoot it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you'd like. This is a new channel, guys. A new channel. And we're really looking to grow this thing for the second half of 2025. I would love it if you guys would be a part of the family.